What's up, my dude? Loretta Lynn's 2023 MX vs. ATV Legends. This is my first lap ever on it. Let's take a little look-ski at what we got here, boys. So, first of all, whoa, that track gets tight right there, brother. So yeah, one thing I'm not going to do in this video is complain about how narrow the track is, because I feel like that's just kind of how Loretta Lynn's is, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like, you know, they've been making all these other pro motocross tracks, but Loretta Lynn specifically, I feel like it's okay for this track to have more of a narrow vibe to it, more of a tight kind of vibe to it. That's okay to me. I have a problem when they start making, like, you know, Redbud too tight. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I have a problem with. So, one really cool thing about this track, if you get the 2023 Loretta Lynn's on Legends, is the fact that you can run the rain mode on this one right out the gate. So, it's kind of like their Thunder Valley track, right, where you could do the rain mode as soon as the track came out. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty cool right here. I'm trying to remember what the track felt like last year. I know that I did a like a early access video on the Loretta Lynn's on All Out, I believe it was. I remember doing that way back there. Dudeski, we made it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, even from, like, those days, I don't feel like this track has changed just a whole lot in these games. But, you know, Loretta Lynn's is just one of those tracks that just doesn't really change that much. I mean, you got this iconic section right here. It goes down, you see all the past champions, you know what I'm saying? You got this whole, like, start line area has been pretty similar. I guess this has changed a little bit, right? It just goes straight right there instead of, like, kind of having a little corkscrew, you know what I'm saying? That's a little spot I've noticed a little bit different. Nice little berm right there. Going to the, what do they call this? Like the 10 Commandments, right? Spency boy trying to, little motocross track trivia, you know what I'm saying? That's so cool, man, when you think about, like, all these pro motocross tracks and Loretta's and stuff. I don't know, I guess I'm just like a motocross nerd or something, but I think it's so cool to have, like, the Catapult, you know. You've got, like, obviously Larocco's Leap, that's, like, the main one, but, like, it's just crazy to me that, like, you know, Chad Reed can have such an epic crash, and then that particular jump gets named after him forever. You know, and that just seems to happen like one time in these different guys' careers. It seems like they'll do something so special on a track, or spectacular in Chad Reed's case, where you know, you get a specific name that sticks around forever, right? Henry Hill, that's another one, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so this area right through here is pretty similar to what it used to be. We'll check out the rain mode here in just a second. Just take a look at that. Okay, I got to get my angles right there. But yeah, I just wanted to say, you know, this track definitely is narrow, but I can't complain about it because it's Loretta's. You know, I feel like in real life, and it's not just, you know, you might say to yourself, well, are you saying, Spence, that they've got to make it just like real life? I thought you said it's not supposed to be one-to-one scaling. Well, what I mean by that is, even with this, you know, this is this is more narrow, I would say, than, you know, if you start, like, comparing. I mean, I don't even know if you'd call this, like, one-to-one scaling. I'm not even sure if you'd call it that, but all I know is that, you know, you just got to be careful on the actual pro motocross tracks making those too close to being one-to-one scaling, because they just don't have that kind of a feeling to them. Like, for instance, on the MX Simulator replica pro motocross tracks, most of those, like the good ones, like 2017 year, a lot of the newer ones they're making's not super narrow like that. I know that a lot of the MX Bikes Pro motocross tracks have that problem of being really narrow, but it's different when you get on a track like Loretta's that's kind of being, you know, an amateur track, obviously. It's just a different level of expectation, I guess you could say, for it scaling wise in my head. I don't even think of Loretta's as being like the same kind of width of a track as like a pro motocross national or something like that. So I just don't even expect it to be like a certain, you know, scaling or whatever. It's okay for this track to be the smallest scaling one of the track pass and all that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying, boys? So, but yeah, track's pretty cool. So one thing I've seen a lot of you guys say in comments about Legends, you know, you'll say things like, I'll say something about the track, and then you'll say something about, damn, they do have these 10 Commandments pretty legit. I can see you flipping over on that. But I see a lot of people saying things like, well, it's just the physics of Legends. It doesn't really allow you to do certain things on the bike, or, you know, it gives the track that kind of weird feeling when you have a really tight corner. You know, the physics of the bike doesn't want to just like naturally allow you to corner properly. I've seen a lot of people comment stuff like that, and I totally agree with that. I remember saying stuff like that in previous videos. It'd be different, you know, like, let's just say the other really narrow 2023 pro motocross track. Sky this thing out, bro. Yammy Hall, jumping over the Yammy Hall sign. Whoa. So yeah, it'd be different if you had like reflex physics, basically is what I'm trying to say. The better and the better the physics are of the certain dirt bike game, the more variation you can have between scalings and sizes and width of tracks and jumps and everything like that. It's like you don't have to build the tracks around the physics as much when the physics are better. You see what I'm saying? That's why with Reflex, you can have a lot of fun on the smaller scaling, like custom Supercross tracks. You can have a lot of fun on the bigger scaling stock Supercross tracks on Reflex. I don't feel like that's the case on Legends. I feel like Legends is a lot more like the physics sort of have to depend on, like, the track scaling and all that has to be built around the physics, or it just doesn't really make any sense, you know? It's kind of weird like that. Double crash, bros. Double crash. I'm sure this track gets pretty deformed. Let's get his first person. Okay. Front fender's a little bit dirty. It's a little bit dirty out here, boys. Alright, so still got this whole section right here, same corner right here that they've had for a while. This is like a little single double kind of area. You can carry a lot of speed right here. This jump right here is not as difficult as I remember it being in previous years. This jump right here is not really as peaked out on the landing. This is kind of the sand section right here. Probably get a lot more deformed on that sand section than the rest of the track. So, yeah, by the way, boys, sorry for the delay in videos. Here we go again. Svency Boy just always has shit going on, you know. It's really fun. Actually had a tree fall on my fiber line. Literally ripped the shit down. Took them like 2 days to fix it. So, yeah. But I don't know. We'll eventually get the YouTube schedule back going again. Just trying to slowly build the channel up again. It's just been so long, man. You know, it's hard to just come back 0 to 100, you know, real quick. You know what I'm saying, boys? It's tough to do that with a YouTube channel. It's like I've got to slowly build this thing back, then we can start really, really digging into it again, you know? Slowly but surely we'll get it back, I promise. We're going to keep going, keep grinding, keep figuring shit out, try to make it better, you know what I mean? But, yeah, damn, dude. These are pretty big right here. Those are pretty big daddy right there, boys. Okay, kind of like a little bit of roughness into this corner. Not a lot of crazy pre-made on this track. Certainly not like, you know, oh my God, this is way more pre-made than any previous Lorettas. It definitely doesn't feel like that to me. Maybe they've got the deformation to a certain vibe where that's doing more, so then they think they don't need as much pre-made. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, I mean, you can see how tight the track is, but, you know, certain tracks I can't complain about that on. And Loretta's is one of those. You know, I just feel like you can't even complain about a Loretta's being too tight, because that's just kind of what it's known for in real life, I feel like. Even if you compare Loretta's to, like, other amateur tracks, like, maybe like Freestone, some other, obviously Minios is pretty narrow, you know, especially like the Supercross track at Minios, but yeah, I mean, Loretta's, I've always felt like Loretta's could be expanded a little bit more IRL, you know what I'm saying? In real life, the real life Loretta's, I feel like, could be slightly more jumpy, slightly like a big hill put in somewhere. I don't know. It's kind of crazy that, you know, the amateurs race on this kind of a track to prove if they're worthy to go to the pro motocross, you know, get on a factory team and go to the actual pro motocross tracks. But, like, when you really think about it, Loretta's doesn't really have almost any element of, like, a Glen Helen pro motocross track, for instance. You know how fucking wide open Glen Helen is? The elevation change, the hill changes, how big some of the jumps are. I don't know. I feel like Loretta's is not really giving you the, and I love Loretta's, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's cool for what it is, you know, and they're trying to make it where the 65s and shit can still have fun on the track. I get it. But, like, it's just kind of comical to me. It's just kind of funny to me that this is the one track, you know, the one race of the year that really matters, and it's just not even close to me to, like, an actual pro national. It's not even close to something like that to me. I've never rode Loretta's, so I can't speak on it in that sense, but I'm just saying, from what it looks like, it damn near looks more like a Supercross track kind of speed, or, you know, scaling, but, like, a lot of your jumps are not that complex. I mean, the Ten Commandments get a little complex if you really want to go, like, triple, triple, triple or whatever, but I don't know. It just seems a lot different. Loretta's seems like a totally different thing to me than like an actual pro motocross track. So, you know, that's just something I've always thought about it. But, you know, that's Loretta's at the end of the day. So for MX vs. ATV to come in here and make the track like this, I can't really complain about it. This is the one that I can't really complain about being too small or being too narrow or whatever, but I do think it is really cool that MX vs. ATV does do the Loretta Lynn's track, even though it's just an amateur track. I know they ran pro races on it like in 2020 when it was weird as shit, but you know, it's cool that not only are they doing all of the Pro Motocross series this year, but they also throw Loretta Lynn's in there, so you get a little bit of content in the middle of that break, right? Which is kind of cool. I just think it's a fun little extra thing for them to have, you know? Just a cool little extra content thing that I feel like definitely adds to the game. Ho, Svency boy. There is a bit of a jump right here that they can kind of sky out into the sand. But, yeah, that's about it for this one, boys. I may make a separate video on the rain mode on this track or something. We may go check it out. But, that gives you a good little look at it. Yeah, the rain mode would give you a bit of a different vibe than you've felt on this track in previous years. But, yeah, it doesn't feel crazy different to me. Like, if you rode on last year's or like even back in All Out or whatever, I mean, this is not something crazy different, you know. You got to be a pretty hardcore, you know, fan to just like pay money strictly for this track. I just look at it as like an added extra thing on top of if you've already bought the track pass or the season pass or whatever, right? it's just like an extra thing. It's not really something that would, this is not something I would think would make you buy the track pass in itself. I just don't feel like it's, you know, anything crazy in that sense, but it's just a little extra thing, little extra something if you want to go ride in the rain mode at Loretta's, just to have a different kind of vibe on Legends, you know. Kind of gives you a little something different to ride on, something different to play in the game. That's about all I really see it as being. You can see that deformation getting going a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of like they got a bit of a sand mix on a bunch of the track right here. I do think this deformation is forming better in this sand section than it did like in last year's, or like on All Out, for instance. It does seem like, you know, those updates that they did where it made the sand feel a lot more different, a lot more unique. And then obviously I think the deformation is different on the newer sand feeling, you know what I'm saying? I think that's definitely making a difference within the deformation here. That'll give you a little bit of a different vibe. So it does seem maybe more like less pre-made, but more and better deformation. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting with this right here. Definitely let me know down in the comments what you guys think. We may have to end up doing a rut tester video on this track. I don't know, but this is just more of a track review right here. So yeah, pretty solid track. I mean, what else are they really going to do with a Loretta Lynn's replica track, you know? Not much else you can do, dog. You know what I'm saying? There's just not much else you can really do with it. Oh, there we go. Finally got the pop off on them 10 commandments, bro. So, either way, man, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. I'll see you boys on that next one later, dudes.